Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well, hope you're all doing swell, and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. Don't forget to leave a like. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. I do appreciate every single day when you leave a like. It really does help out the channel more than you actually know. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So, as we continue to mosey on into 2025, as you might have remembered, seen, heard at some point in the last 2 or 3 months, the expectations are extremely high for this year. It cannot be understated. If you don't understand exactly what I'm saying, maybe go back and try again. The expectations for this year for a lot of different cryptocurrencies are spectacularly high. I've been reading a lot, I've been looking around, I've been looking at what analysts have been saying. We've been going over it here as well, and we are at this point where, for those of you who missed it, the belief is that January, February, and March are going to be absolutely insane for coin prices. We are expecting a number of coin pumps, if you will. A couple of days ago, there was a chart where people were showing basically the year after the halving. That would be now. Ethereum has consistently performed extremely well. 1 month it goes up by 21%, 1 month it goes up by 41%. And usually by the time we get to April, there's a bit of a lull simply because it's US tax season. And then at that point, the market moves back up again, which then leads us into summer around June, July, the beginning of August of the year after the halving, where prices have also completely gone up once again. And typically we see the end of August, around September, there's a bit more of a lull until we get to October, November, December, which is like the last usual push, like the one that you hear about in the news when everyone and their mother flocks into the cryptocurrency space, that kind of thing. So right now, as the news stands and where everyone is expecting things to go, all eyes, nearly all eyes, are on Ethereum. Of course, Bitcoin is the constant coin that's in the news with everyone expecting major things. US purchasing Bitcoin, other countries purchasing Bitcoin, other states, as we've been going over for the last month and a half, have also announced they're also going to start buying up Bitcoin as well. But the gigantic but in the room has to do with Ethereum. Ethereum is tied to every other altcoin. So if Ethereum does well, every other altcoin does extremely well at the exact same time. For some reason, there's like surprised news that Ethereum's doing well and that the inflows into the ETFs particularly have been good. If you remember in summer 2024, we had a really, and this was mainly Bitcoin maximalists showing their rear ends, if you understand, in that they were trying to spread as much negativity as possible about Ethereum mining, about Ethereum inflation, about Ethereum deflation, about Ethereum ETFs. Remember how we kept on going over and over and over. There was always a, what's the word? Every time that the inflows into Ethereum ETFs were around $118 million, but the next day the outflows were $8 million, the 8 million made the news. It was negative. Oh my gosh, there's outflows. It's not going to do good. It's not going to do well. But no one paid attention to the actual inflows. So now that there's constant new records every day, essentially, really, a lot of the news today, this is one of the most popular news stories. We're quite shocked. How could this be? I don't understand. It's just Ethereum, the biggest coin that we have in the Ether exchange traded funds hit a new monthly record in December despite the holiday illiquidity, bolstering analyst expectations of an incoming rally. So we only have news about the entirety of December because that's all that we have to basically go on. We don't have the entirety of the numbers for January because if we did, that would be extremely weird. The idea of a rally is like, it's kind of like dauntingly all over the place now. Everyone is expecting Ethereum to have some kind of a mega rally. I mean, like a mega rally over the course of the next 3 months. US spot Ether exchange traded funds reached a new monthly record, surpassing 2.1 billion US dollars worth of cumulative net inflows during December. December's 2.1 billion worth of inflows is nearly double that of November, which the ETH ETFs received just over $1 billion worth of cumulative net inflows. Farside investor data shows, and there's a little chart right there. A lot of news now. I don't know what the switch was. I mean, I assume it's basically because as we went over the chart that people were showing that showed that the year after the halving, January, February, and March are extremely good months historically for Ethereum, so the rally is expected. You might remember, this is the news that we were also getting about the, what do you call it? Altcoin season is expected to really kick off now. Like right now. I mean, like this is, we're here, 2025, this is the time, this is the year. That's what all the news is constantly pointing to. And to be fair, the news has been quite accurate as well as far as going ons about prices. I mean, not so much like accuracy as like Bitcoin's going to hit 183,000, but it's more of a like, okay, rally this week, this is going to happen, rally this week, things will slow down, rally this week, that kind of thing. The latest report from CoinOtag is highlighting significant moves in the Ethereum market as institutional giants BlackRock and Fidelity have ramped up their investments. Recent data sourced from Twitter indicate that both companies collectively acquired a staggering 101,390 ETH within the week. This acquisition translates to a substantial monetary influx of around 3.42 billion US dollars. So it makes a lot of sense. And I'll say this, the larger coins within the market are clearly incredibly undervalued. It is extremely weird to me that the most used chain on the planet is still not over $6,000. I find it incredibly odd. I saw, and I don't have it here because it's like, okay. I saw Robert Kiyosaki, the guy from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and someone else, I don't remember their names anymore, claiming that BlackRock specifically was manipulating the price of Bitcoin and the price of Ether and how they should be a lot higher. And it's also something that we've gone over for a very long time. I'll say it in the nicest way possible. All markets are manipulated in some form or fashion. But it's also at the point where we should be a lot higher in price. But there's also a lot happening behind the scenes where if we are getting indications that Bitcoin might go to $500,000 this year and Ethereum might go to $14,000 in 2025, of course, the major hands at play are going to try and suppress prices so that they can accumulate at much lower prices, essentially. Very popular news. I don't have all the articles because it's like relatively daunting. Everyone thinks Ethereum is about to pump. Everyone thinks Ethereum is about to pump for the next 12 plus months. And as we move on into summer, expectations are over a $10,000 Ether. And this is basically around the time where we would begin to see the beginnings of the 10, 20, 30, 40 X's for a number of different altcoins. I mentioned before in a couple of other videos, in case you missed it, I am also on the altcoin train. And I mean, even this cycle, I'm kind of like doing like ridiculous things as far as I've been here so many times and I've seen that a lot of altcoins will do a 60x, a 35x in price, and I am now throwing money basically at everything that I think is going to do well over the course of this year. Just as an experiment. I mentioned it in one of my other videos, but we'll see what ends up happening. So yeah, 2025, we finally made it. Let's see what ends up happening. I mean, even when you look at what people are expecting, like economically for this year, a lot of people are expecting really big things. So let's see where this all leads us. That's the people are buying huge amounts of Ether on chain and also through the actual ETF investments. And yeah, let's move on. This is something that I think is going to be a massive narrative, basically from now until forever. If you were here about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, somewhere around there, one of the main discussions had to do with the idea of kind of tokenizing everything. It's basically like the next step in capitalism, where instead of being able to, own a house, you can own fragments of a house. If you can't own an entire Picasso, guess what? You can own fractions of a Picasso. It's this idea of literally digitizing everything that has value and placing its value onto a blockchain, essentially for safekeeping and record keeping and kind of accountability, so that people can all see at the exact same time where that actual asset is. This is going to be a major thing, as I've told you many times about like the actual trends and stuff, but this is one that has like a real world application. The idea behind it is quite dystopian, but I mean, you've all seen the news. Where we currently are right now is that rich people are buying up all the assets. And in order for normal people, to have access to assets, the idea is basically like fractionalizing it, digitizing it so that everyone can has their little tiny slice and piece of the pie. A lot of this is already going on, but more of it will happen in the future. A lot of you will own in the future fractions of other homes and houses around the world that you will digitally get your rent from on a blockchain. You will own fractionized pieces of like major artworks. You will own a portion of a self-driving car that's going to pick people up, and when they pay, you will get in real time your money through the actual blockchain as well. So it's a good way to have extra people in the economy, but it's also like, rich people are basically going to own everything, and everyone else will kind of be able to invest in this. A German fintech by the name of 21X, one of the 4 applicants for a blockchain trading infrastructure permit under the European Union's DLT pilot regime, has secured regulatory approval to launch a tokenization platform. The firm received a license to operate a blockchain-based trading and settlement system regulated by European laws, it announced at the beginning of December, granted by the German Financial Supervisory Authority, or BaFin. The license enables 21X to launch its exchange for tokenized financial instruments from its Frankfurt headquarters. Following the approval, they plan to launch in the first quarter of this year, featuring services including tokenization, issuance, distribution, listing, and trading. A lot of people believe that but this is the belief in the future, that a lot of stock exchanges will eventually, I know they're already digital, but it's the idea that they'll actually move onto blockchains and they'll allow you to actually have access to the item that you're trying to invest in through the stocks and also have them on the exact same platform. I want to invest in gold. I'm going to buy some shares in this gold company, and at the same exact time on that same platform, this digitized version of gold, like that I know that this company is holding in their vault, I also want some of that as well. It's kind of like a one-stop shop kind of thing. Also the issuance of new tokens as well. I'm not too sure how well that one's going to play out, because a lot of people are trying to do the exact same thing, as far as the belief that any company looking to list or launch or issue a new coin would go to them to do it, as opposed to doing it themselves and getting regulatory approval in some sort of way. So not the most exciting news, but this is, I mean, it's the same exact thing if you look at old videos about the internet from the early 90s, and these people were like, what? Why would we need any of that? What's an email? No, it's okay. I'm gonna continue writing a letter. You can find those videos online. They're actually really weird to look at now, because you realize how insane that they sound, because the internet has taken over our lives. But in the future, it's expected that nearly everything will be digitized in some form or fashion. So you will own things, you will have things, you will be trading things back and forth that are digital. It seems believable to you now because you are into crypto and you know what it means to move digital things back and forth. But for a lot of other people, they can't conceptualize owning something that's completely digital, or that is digitized, that they may never actually hold in their hands. But that's the way that things are going. Yeah, this was also popular news. I don't know what 21X is particularly, but this was very popular news. So I assume 21X must be something big, and or people just like that company enough to have made enough articles about it. That's the 21X has received approval for a tokenization platform. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in quite popular news, South Korea has decided to be lightly smart in their endeavors, and they have agreed to postpone the introduction of crypto gains tax by another 2 years. Originally slated for January of 2025, the controversial tax will now take effect in 2027. A lot of countries are realizing that they want money. Weird, right? And the way that they've done so before in the past, there were several countries. I don't know if the time is up. I don't keep track of them anymore. A lot of countries announced that not only were cryptocurrencies legal, but anyone doing business in their country with crypto would be tax exempt over the course of a 5-year period. Like I said, I think maybe some of those have run out. I'm not really sure. I'm not paying attention. However, other countries are trying to find a happy medium, if you will, for crypto within their borders, simply because, as I've stated so many other times in many other videos, there are a number of countries who have like a 38% tax on crypto. There are others that have like a 52% tax. And I sit there and I wonder, and I'm like, how can you be so bad at business? What makes you think that someone would want to do business, or even, and I say this nicely, or live within your borders when you have a tax rate that's so high? Especially as there are other countries that have a 0% tax rate on your crypto when you sell it. So it looks like they're trying to bide their time in some sort of way. They're trying to see where things might go. I really think the sweet spot is anything less than 10%. Of course, 0 is a lovely number, but I think realistically, around like 24%, no, you did nothing for what I worked for. 24% is absolutely insane. 18% is like, you can go sit in a corner. Why are you taking so much of my money? 8%, 7%, 6%, I think people wouldn't have as much of an issue with that, especially now the US doesn't do this, but other countries do. Other countries actually tell you in your taxes, like, where your money is going. The US does not do this, for those of you, once again, who didn't get that. So I think if you could see that your 6% was explicitly going to schools, building new roads, helping out firefighters, like that kind of thing, I think people would be more in line with it. But also, once again, 0 is also an incredible number. South Korea dominated the cryptocurrency market a number of years ago. They were like the big dogs in the market. Their government, I mean, if you look at the news. So what's also going on right now is that The expectations are still kind of there that South Korea will make some kind of a comeback in the cryptocurrency space like they did previous years. However, I think their government, at least from the last year being in the news, is trying to make crypto less attractive within the country just because of like economic instability. We know that if crypto does extremely well, the old system doesn't. And the people who are in charge and who control the money and the money printing want the old system to be as strong as possible. And that doesn't actually happen when everyone else moves into a brand new system, such as cryptocurrencies. The, what do you call it? The premium on Bitcoin in South Korea is also up and up. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's not the most important news, so I haven't really brought it here at any given time. People call it the kimchi premium. I'm not sure who started that phrase, but it's what's used right now. And over the last couple of weeks, we've seen that like that percentage, it's been more than the actual US dollar value of Bitcoin. But that kind of happens everywhere. People just focus on South Korea because of their past prospectus of kind of ruling the market. For those of you who don't know, and once again, this happens basically nearly everywhere. Like, remember how before we got news that Bitcoin hit a brand new all-time high in Brazil, in Canada, and 8 other places before the actual US dollar? It's weaker currencies, and basically, Bitcoin's also extremely finite, which is something that people keep forgetting. So yeah, the kimchi premium is currently back. It's only going to go up higher. Bitcoin, there's not a lot of it left. I don't know how many more times I can say that. People keep thinking that Bitcoin in some way is abundant. Crypto exchanges in other countries there's only so much money that goes around. So they're trying to buy as much, literally. The other exchanges have to buy Bitcoin. It's not gifted to them. They have to buy the Bitcoin and then sell it. The problem is there's not enough Bitcoin to go around for them to buy. So what they have gets scooped up really quick by other investors. And then they go, okay, well, we don't have a lot left. So of course the premium ends up going up as well. Many countries around the world, their citizens can only usually use crypto exchanges within their borders. Of course, it makes sense. Park Chan-dae, the floor leader of the KDP, confirmed the decision in a press conference in December. The delay marks the 3rd time that they have pushed back the implementation of their digital asset capital gains tax, reflecting ongoing debates over its timing and impact. Yeah, people will leave. It's not a joke. I'm not trying to say this as power to the crypto people. No, it's a real thing. Remember all the other countries years ago? I kept on saying, I was like, you have to be smart about the number. There's a certain number where people are okay to an extent with taxes. But if you keep overreaching and you already did nothing for the work that I did, nothing, you did absolutely no work and you're already taking a huge portion of my money, it's not a good feeling. So especially when it comes to crypto and other things like that, the government is basically just, anyway, so the point is, cool, good for them. I hope they find the mojo, whatever they need to try and do, because people will go to other countries, they will move and have a lower tax rate. That's what's been happening for a while. Anywho, that's the South Korean news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in what? How's that possible? I'm so confused. A recent analysis by CryptoQuant, the contributor is called Barrow Virtual, why not, has highlighted a steady decline in Bitcoin reserves on centralized exchanges. This trend points to increased accumulation by new investors who view the current price levels as a final correction opportunity before a potential surge. Yes, my friends, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges continues to decrease. It's not as high as it was before. It's not as high as it was a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. It always continues to go down. More and more people are buying Bitcoin all the time. A lot of people, and it's so easy. It's so easy to fool the average investor. A lot of people see Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP's price going down, and for some reason people assume the coin is over, there's no interest, and I don't know why it's so easy. I wish I could tell you as well. Bitcoin goes down by $6,000. I told you before, I know automatically without looking at prices when prices have fallen because my views go down. It's always the same. So that lets me know that only a small portion of people within this space and on the planet are actually paying attention. It's this really weird. People are only interested when prices are pumping, not realizing that, and this is from my vantage point, you should be interested when prices are going up, when prices are going sideways, and when prices are going down. When prices go down, that's the buying opportunity. They're getting out people who are over leveraged. They're getting out all the shorts. They flush these people and retail investors out of the market, and they move that money, once again, the crypto, into the hands of the people who have patience, who are okay with waiting. Like, imagine if I told you 10 years ago, no, if I showed you, me and you were in a time machine, and I showed you Bitcoin's going to $101,000. It's currently at $1. Hold on to this. You would hold on to it. With this indication that we have as Bitcoin becomes rarer, that Bitcoin's going to $1 million, only a small portion of people are actually listening to that news. And it becomes a situation when Bitcoin goes to $1 million and then they go, well, why wasn't I listening? And it's like, okay. Yes, without having to go through the entirety of the article, the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges continues to decrease. We are seeing new wallet addresses popping up all the time. Bitcoin remains incredibly popular. MicroStrategy is buying all the time. A number of countries are continuing to buy Bitcoin. We now have a number of states within the United States who are announcing that they're also going to be making their own Bitcoin reserve. And once again, don't forget that just because someone isn't telling you something immediately, that is not being done. I think a lot of places, a lot of like states and provinces and whatever are already buying Bitcoin. Can we all agree on that? For those of you who missed it, it's Connecticut, Texas, Florida. Oh gosh, I'm missing a couple of states. Connecticut. Did I say that? I don't remember. Who have announced that they're going to start buying Bitcoin. They're trying to pass a law for it. But you know what also makes a lot of sense is just to like do it early. So you get in before the price, like, because the moment they announce that the price will end up going up a lot higher, then they have to buy at a higher price. So a lot of these companies are, of course, already buying. I don't want it to happen, but I'm also like waiting for the moment where we like actually like see Bitcoin over 700, 800,000. And then we hear that there's like 30,000 Bitcoin left on exchanges, and like people just running through the streets, like grabbing their hair, screaming. Because I think that's the only thing that's going to really get people to really understand exactly what's happening, because price movements don't do it. Accumulation levels don't do it. The news doesn't do it. So I think people need to see for themselves that they wasted time, that they squandered their entire opportunity. And that seems to be the only way to get things rolling. I think that's going to do it for this video. I sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I hope that the next 3 months for you are absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.